Kirkcudbright Parish Church was designed in 1835 by the renowned Victorian architect William Burn, with the foundation stone laid on the 22nd of April 1836 and worship first offered in the building on the 20th of October 1838. The church was built at the cost of £6,582 on ground given by Dunbar James Douglas, 6th Earl of Selkirk, who also met the construction costs. The church was built on a large scale in anticipation that the town's population would grow more than the fact it did. Kirkcudbright Parish Church is one of the most significant of William Burn's churches, constructed to a symmetrical T-plan on the northwest-southeast axis, with galleries in the north, incorporated trades of Kirkcudbright Gallery, east, Country End Gallery, formerly occupied by Earl of Selkirk, and south, the Town End Gallery, occupied by the former Kirkcudbright Town Council, all having armorial bearings on the gallery fronts, the main entrance vestibule giving access to the country end of the church. The pulpit, sounding board and presenter box to William Burn's design, facing you as you enter the church, date from the time when the services were led entirely by the minister, who could see the entire congregation and be seen from the elevated position of the pulpit. The 1913 stained glass window in the town end, installed by William Meikle. Kirkcudbright Parish Church is a Category B listed building, has benefited in recent years from major restoration work in 1989, 2003 and between 2004 and 2007, with major funding including from the Church of Scotland, General Trustees, the Baird Trust, the Ferguson Bequest, Historic Scotland, Heritage Lottery Fund, Kirkcudbright Common Good Fund. In excess of £100,000 was raised locally in 2003 for work on the 115 feet high tower and steeple. The organ was built by Thomas Harrison, founder of Harrison and Harrison Durham, in 1885. Originally the grate and swell pipework was sited in the case to the right of the pulpit, with the console below. The left case was occupied by the pedal pipework. Major works were undertaken on the organ by Wilkinson of Kendal in the 1950s, with the original tracker actually being replaced by an electric pneumatic mechanism. A detached console and new pipework between the organ and cases were installed at the same time. The organ has for the present been decommissioned, with a Macon electric organ in use. Should major funding become available, the long-term aim would be to restore the pipe organ to the original specifications, including tracker action of Harrison and Harrison, as part of the development of the building by the newly formed St Cuthbert's Trust. ARPL Architects, AIR, produced in 2011 proposals for the reordering and alteration of the building. These envisage, in phases, removal of pews, alterations of vestry and construction of new meeting room, the provisions of new toilets, kitchen and cafe, the alteration of gallery seating and the provision of new upper meeting rooms. It is hoped thereby to secure the building for the future for both church and community group use, and having regard to the building's fine acoustics, to see it maintained as an auditorium for music and theatre performance and worship for the 21st century. To celebrate the 175th anniversary of the church building, on Sunday the 20th of October 2013, at a special service that day, the moderator designate of the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland, Reverend Lorna Hood, will preach. The fine whinstone and sandstone church building has occupied its central position in the town, with its steeple the dominant feature of the town's skyline. Kirkcudbright Parish Church, at the heart of Kirkcudbright, having the people of Kirkcudbright at heart. William Burn, 1789 to 1870. The prestigious Scottish architect was born in Edinburgh, the son of architect Robert Byrne. He was educated at the Royal High School. After training with the architect of the British Museum, Sir Robert Smyke, William Byrne returned to Edinburgh in 1812 and established a practice from the family builder's yard. In 1841 he took on a pupil, David Bryce, with whom he later went into partnership. From 1844, William Byrne worked in London, where he took on his nephew, John McVicar Anderson, as a partner. He is buried in Kensal Green Cemetery, London. Major buildings for which he received commissions include Northleith Parish Church, 1816, Church of St John the Evangelist, Edinburgh, 1818, New Abbey Church, Dunfermline, Fife, 1821, Blairgowan Castle, South Ayrshire, 1821, the Edinburgh Academy, 1824, John Watson's Hospital, now the Scottish National Gallery of Modern Art, Edinburgh, 1828, Madras College, St Andrews, 1832, Inverness Castle, Inverness, 1836, Montague House, Whitehall, London. The Reverend John Macmillan, 1837 to 1843. John Macmillan was born at Moffat in 1809, the son of Samuel Macmillan and Anne Proudfoot. Following his studies in Edinburgh University, he was licensed by Presbyterian of Dunblane on the 17th of July 1832 in the Call of God. John Macmillan became a successful candidate for the vacancy brought about by the death of the Reverend George Hamilton. It came about this way. Mr Macmillan had just left Cardross, where he had been an assistant, when he, as a young minister friend, came on a walking tour to Galloway. When they came to Kirkcudbright, his friend said to him, "There's a vacancy here. I am going to put my name down for it. Won't you do the same?" John Macmillan seemed to have been very doubtful about it, but when they went to interview the session clerk, he told the young men that there was no bonnier part in all of Scotland. Mr Macmillan was persuaded to apply. At the time the congregation worshipped in the old parish church Kirkcudbright on the Moat Brae. Reverend Macmillan had high ideas regarding his office. The 18th of May 1843 saw the disruption and the birth of the Free Church of Scotland. It is not known if Mr Macmillan was present at the memorable General Assembly of the Church of Scotland, St Andrews Church, Edinburgh, when 203 commissioners, the majority, left the assembly, insisting that it should be congregations and not patrons who should have the right to call ministers. After the disruption, John Macmillan wrote to the 6th Earl of Selkirk, the patron of the living, asking if he might be allowed to stay in Oakley, which he then occupied as the manse, until he got another home. But the Earl told him he must be out by the end of the month. Mr Macmillan later became minister of the Free Church of Kirkcudbright, with the congregation worshipping in the Free Church building, erected in Kirkcudbright that year. The replacement Free Church, the former St Mary's Church, opened on the 26th of March 1874. From the States, John Macmillan was awarded a doctorate of divinity. He married on the 1st of June 1838 Anne Stewart, the youngest daughter of William Singer, D.D. Minister of Kilpatrick, Chutax, near Moffat. They had family. Samuel, a banker in Moffat, born the 5th of July 1839, died 26th of February 1897. William Singer, merchant, Liverpool, born on 8th of October 1841. Anne Stewart, born the 31st of March 1847. Married 1878. Alexander Marshall, M.A., became minister of St Mary's UF Church, Kirkcudbright, 1887. And John James, born the 10th of October 1850. Anne Macmillan died on the 25th of November 1881. John Macmillan preceded her on the 29th of November 1876. His memorial in the trades end of the church bears the inscription, Sacred to the memory of the Reverend John McMillan D.D., minister of this parish from 1837 till the destruction, 18th of May 1843, and of this congregation of the Free Church till his death, 29th of November 1876. A man greatly beloved, a faithful servant of the Good Shepherd, whose life was a beautiful manifestation of the wisdom from above, which is pure, peaceable, gentle, easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits. The Reverend John Underwood, 1843 to 1878. John Underwood was born in Ayr on the 16th of March 1813, the son of John Underwood and Anne Galbraith. He was educated at Ayr Academy and Glasgow University. Licensed by the Presbytery of Ayr on the 25th of March 1840, he became assistant at Saltcoats and was ordained at Greenhead, Glasgow in 1842. He became minister of Kirkcudbright Parish Church on the 21st of September 1843. On the 23rd of March 1855, John Underwood married Margaret Melville, daughter of Captain Alexander Roxburgh, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. With 2 daughters and 5 sons, 2 children died in infancy. After his wife Margaret Underwood's death on the 17th of August 1866, it fell to John Underwood to bring up their 5 surviving children, then aged 9, 7, 4, 3 and 2 years. From the Kirk session minutes of the time, the Reverend John Underwood announced to elders George Hamilton, John Blacklock, Hawk Montgomery, John Williamson and R.M. Gordon that he had received an anonymous letter without date but bearing a London postmark enclosing £200 sent for the erection of 1 or more almshouses with some of the comforts of Prince Albert's model cottages, with full power of the minister and elders of Kirkcudbright Parish for the time being to do so what they think best, for the said purpose selecting aged and poor communicants to become occupants from time to time. Others will add to them. Above the door we put the poor ye have always with you, if you deem necessary. The envelope was addressed the Reverend John Underwood, Kirkcudbright, Scotland. The Kirk session regretted that they did not have their power to thank the generous donor for his magnificent gift to the poor, having no knowledge who he was, but they requested that the moderator to have a gift notified in the newspapers, that the donor might know that it had come to hand. The Kirk session resolved this in the meantime, the money be held in a bank, which the moderator did, the money being held in his name as moderator of Kirk session. On the 28th of January 1872, it was intimated that a second £200 had been received anonymously. A suitable site was identified but thought too expensive at £300. On the 14th of July 1872, it was intimated that the Earl of Selkirk undertook to make available a suitable site, building at the time being unusually expensive. It was resolved not to commence operations till next season. On the 28th of July 1872, the moderator intimated to Kirk session that the third anonymous gift of £200 for almshouses had been received, following a receipt of 7th of April 1873 of the fourth gift of £200 in banknotes with a slip of paper bearing the words "For almshouses, Kirk session." Determined to inquire as to suitable sites with authority to purchase the tannery site, advertised at an upset price of £600 with authority to offer up to £800. By the time of their meeting on the 10th of May 1875, monetary gifts totalled £1,400 with interest, a sum of £1,506 17 and 4pence being held on deposit with the National Bank of Scotland. The tannery site was purchased at the price of £800, with title being on the 16th of May 1875. A further £200 were received anonymously on the 26th of December 1875. James McCandish, architect, drew up plans. By the 15th of March 1876, 5 dwelling houses were built and ready for occupancy and let as rents, varying from £4 to £1.10 per annum. The building of a further 4 houses at a cost of £1,262.18 was authorised. Kirk Session noted in meeting of the 13th of August 1876 receipt of a further £200 with instructions: please take care that the expenditure is kept within the amount of cash you have in hand. It was the day resolved that the wall being built on the east boundary and that the earth closet being provided on the 24th of December 1876 saw a further £200. On the 9th of December 1877, a gift of £200 from the same anonymous donor was made to be spent on any clever youth the Kirk Session might select who may wish to train for the ministry of the Church of Scotland, with full power to spend on the almshouses if considered more advisable. And thus the Reverend Underwood oversaw the accumulated monetary gifts applied towards the provisions of almshouses in Kirkcudbright. He never knew the identity of the donor. The identity of the donor only became known on the 2nd of October 1881 after Mr. Underwood's death, and during the ministry of Reverend Underwood's successor, the Reverend Alexander Duncan Campbell. As Edward Atkinson, sometime manager of the National Provincial Bank of England, who died on the 14th of July 1881, aged 68 years, it was then resolved by Kirk Session, on the motion of R.M. Gordon, elder, to name the almshouses Atkinson Square in Edward Atkinson's memory. The Reverend John Underwood died on the 29th of August 1878 and is buried with most members of his family in St Kilbert's churchyard.